Fairy Tale by Creangă. 5 breads. One summer, 2 men familiar to each other were walking along the road. One had 3 breads in his bag and the other had 2. Being hungry, they stopped for a while in the shade of a plump willow, and at will, each got out his own bread and began eating to satisfy his hunger. As soon as they got the bread out of their bags, a third stranger caught up with them and stopped to greet them. Then he began to beg for something to eat because he was very hungry and he had no food or possibility to buy it.
Please, kind person, have a snack with us.
Say the 2 travelers to the stranger.
By the grace of the Lord, where 2 eggs came first.
The stranger, hungry, not expecting much invitation, sat down next to them, and they all began to eat bread and drink cold water from the well, because they had no other. And they ate all 5 breads in no time. When he finished eating, the stranger took 5 lei from his bag and gave them to the one who had 3 breads with the words,
"Please accept, good people, this little thank you from me for giving me food when I was in need. Have a glass of wine or spend the money as you like. At least I will thank you so much for the good that you did for me, for it was already dark in my eyes from hunger."
2 men did not want to take the money, but the third insisted and they accepted. After a while, the stranger said goodbye to them and continued on his way. 2 men remained in the shade of the willow to rest after eating. And word for word, the one with 3 breads gave 2 lei to the one with 2, saying,
Keep your part, friend, and do with it whatever you want. You had 2 breads, here are you 2 lei. I will leave 3 lei for myself, because I had 3 breads, the same as yours.
What?
said the other with contempt.
Why only 2 lei, and not 2.5? I thought we shared the bread. The stranger might not have given us anything, and then what?
What then?
said the one who had 3 breads.
Then I would receive alms for well-deserved share from 3 breads, and you from 2. But now we ate not in vain, we have an abundance of money in our pockets for bread. I have 3 lei, you have 2 lei, each according to the number of breads he had. I think even the Lord himself would not have shared better.
No, my friend,
said the one with 2 breads.
I don't think you divided it right. Let's go to court, and as a judge says, so be it.
Let's go to court.
said another.
If you are not satisfied, I think that the verdict will be in my favor, although I have never been to court.
So they hit the road, determined to face trial. When they reached the place where the court was, they stood before the judge and began to speak from the very beginning, one by one, how it happened that they traveled together, that they sat at the table together, how many breads each had, how the stranger are with them, how he gave them 5 lei as gratitude, and how the one who had 3 breads did find a way to share them. The judge, having carefully listening to both of them, said to the one who had 3 breads,
"And you are not satisfied with such a decision, man?"
No, judge.
said the disgruntled man.
We were not going to charge a stranger for the food we gave him. But since it happened, we must divide into 2 parts what our guest gave us. I think this will be correct when it comes to justice.
"If it's fair,
said the judge.
then return 1 lei to the man with 3 breads."
I didn't expect this from you, George.
said the displeased man insolently.
I came to court, and you, Mr. George, offered me even more. If there is the same judgment from God, then woe to the world.
You think so,
said the judge calmly.
but you will see that it is not so. You had 3 breads,
Yes, Judge, I had to.
and your friend had 3 breads.
Yes, Judge, he had 3.
None of you had any drink?
No, Judge, except bread and cold water from the well. May the Lord reward the one who dug it for passers-by.
And you, as I remember, yourself said that you ate everything equally.
That's right, Judge.
Now let's set the following order so we can know exactly how many breads each ate. Let's say each bread was cut into 3 identical pieces. How many pieces would you have if there were 2 breads?
6, Judge.
What about your friend, who, in your opinion, had 3 breads?
9, Judge.
And together, it would be
15 pieces, Judge.
And how many people ate those 15 pieces?
3, Judge.
Right. How much did each one eat?
5 at a time, Judge.
Now, can you remember how many pieces you had?
6, Judge.
How much did you eat?
5, Judge.
So, how much was left?
1, Judge.
Now, let's move on to your friend. Do you remember how many pieces would have come out of his 3 breads?
9, Judge.
How much did he eat?
5, like me, Judge.
How much was left?
4, Judge.
Right. Let's figure it out now. It turns out that you have only 1 piece left. And your comrade, 4. Now, a piece of bread you left behind and 4 pieces of another make 5 pieces?
5, Judge.
Is it true that your guest ate these 5 pieces and left you 5 lei in gratitude for this?
That's right, George.
Well, then you only have 1 lei for the piece that you have left over. Your friend gets 4 lei, 4 of his pieces. So please give him 1 lei back. If you think my judgment is wrong, then go to God himself and let him judge more justly than me.
The one who had 2 breads, seeing that he could do nothing, with some regret returned the lei to his friend and bashfully left the courtroom. The one who had 3 breads, amazed at this sentence, thanked the judge and left surprised.
If there were such judges everywhere who can be flooded, our righteous people would be afraid to go to the courts.
The talkers, called defenders, having lost the opportunity to live by deception alone, would either get down to business or they would live a grave all their life. Kind people would only benefit from this.